Alright, hello everyone. I'm starting a new channel today called Cricket Acharya, Kshatriya of Cricket. The idea is to analyze cricket through a new lens. Can we do a data analysis? Can we try to think like what Virat Kohli does? Right? Let's start with today's first video. That is India versus England, third test at Leeds, day one. Let's analyze what happened. After the resounding win at Lords, obviously Virat Kohli and the Indian cricket team is on an all-time high. So winning the first toss after a long time puts Virat Kohli in a good stead. How is he going to manage the pressure? He's obviously chosen to bat first, but all of you know what happened, right? India went through a massive collapse, and that led to a lot of people asking questions on Twitter. Has Virat Kohli chosen the correct team for this? Why is Ashwin not playing? Why is Shardul Thakur not playing? Why is Pujara still playing? There's quite a few questions that are being asked. And Virat Kohli, obviously being a champion of Indian cricket team, obviously there are a lot of people who are out there to criticize him if things go wrong. We Indian fans are quite passionate. How about we try to analyze this through Virat Kohli's eyes? So this video is an idea to look inside Virat Kohli's mind and see what he's trying to think. Alright, let's go. Obviously, some of the questions that we are trying to answer through this video is the team selection. Why is Ashwin not playing? Why is Thakur not playing? Why is Suryakumar Yadav or Prithvi Shaw not playing? There's quite a few positions open up there in the middle order who are not performing really well, and perhaps Sky could suit in. And Virat Kohli is being criticized for this. But why is he still not playing? We'll try to answer that. Day one batting breakdown. Right. We did see a lot of fall shots. Why is India playing so many fall shots, especially on the first day of a test match? And that too in England when the ball's gonna swing. Right. What's stopping Pujara from being successful? It's been time, right? And what can Virat Kohli do to hit three figures? I think he hit his last century in 2019, so that's almost 2.5 years now. And day two bowling breakdown. Few questions going on Twitter. Why did Ishant open? Right? How is India's swing bowling compared to its seam bowling? Where does England capitulate over India? And where can India improve? And some of the key moments. Did we miss trying to set the tone when we were batting as well as bowling? Did Jadeja miss a trick when he was bowling? And Siraj obviously giving it back to the England audience. And what can we look forward on day two? All right, let's dive in. Obviously, with the team selection, Team India, you had the two openers, Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul, who have been performing fabulously in the first two tests. So they were going to, their spots were not going to change, right? Then you had Chereshwar Pujara, Virat Kohli, and Ajinkya Rahane. Obviously, the middle order is not performing really well, but considering we had performed so well in the first two matches, it made little sense to change the middle order. Rishabh Pant, obviously the wicketkeeper, I think he's going to stay on. His flamboyance after the Gabba test has put him in good stead, and Jadeja as well. Not many people know that in the past couple of years, Jadeja has been averaging more than Pujara, Kohli, or Rahane, and he's performing really well in his fielding as well. There's a great addition to the test team. And obviously, the quartet that we carry of Mohammad Shami, Ishant Sharma, Bumrah, and Siraj. There was no point changing the squad after winning at Lords, and especially the resounding win that we had at Lords. So, what's the summary? You have five specialist batsmen, but they're all right handed. You have one batsman wicketkeeper who is fortunately left handed. You have a one spin all rounder who is a left handed bat. He's a left arm off spinner as well as a gazelle when he's on fielding. There's obviously no replacement for Jadeja. And then you've got four genuine bowlers. Bear in mind, India's bowlers are seam bowlers, they're not swing bowlers. And they're also right handed. On the other hand, let's see what Team England has. We obviously have Rory Barnes and Hasib Hamid coming in. Tom Sibley? I think Tom Sibley was dropped out. And David Malan comes in at number three. You have Joe Root, the captain, Bairstow, and Butler. They have been getting a fairly steady set of scores, so there was no point changing that. Even Moeen Ali, he performed really well in Lord's last test, so he comes in as a spin all-rounder. A few good changes. Sam Curran still stays in, but that's a positive because although he's not performed, he adds a left-handed middle sort of medium pace bowler. Then you've got Craig Overton, right? He's a good bowling all-rounder, especially on England tracks. And then you had Ollie Robinson, James Anderson, who had been bowling really well and the highest wicket takers for England. Now let's try to summarize England's squad. I've got five specialist batsmen, but there's three right-handed and two left-handed. Now that is something that we should all look at really carefully. There's one batsman wicketkeeper who's right-handed. They have one spin all-rounder, that's Moeen Ali, who is left-handed bat, right-hand off spin. There's two bowlers who can bat, and they're swing bowlers. That's something that we need to take notice of carefully. You've got one right-handed batsman bowler, that's Craig Overton. You've got one left-handed batsman bowler, that's obviously Sam Curran. I've got two bowlers, again, they're swing bowlers, they're not seam bowlers, Ollie Robinson and James Anderson. So what's the summary? If you look at the characteristic and we try to compare India versus England, right? Let's say the bowling experience, right? India's got three fast bowlers who have got good amount of experience, especially Ishan Sharma and Shami. They have played a fair bit of tests almost in all the venues. And then you've got Bumrah, who's been playing a lot of tests, especially away from home, and he's been playing really well. So that gives India three good bowlers with good bowling experience. On the other hand, England has just one, and that's James Anderson. Bear in mind, Ollie Robinson is quite new. He has played less than 10 tests, as well as Sam Curran. Although he was a hero in the last series when India played in England, but Sam Curran has been around for a long time, but he hasn't been playing as many tests. He was dropped for some time, and then he comes, and then he's obviously come back. And Craig Overton, who comes in for Mark Wood. Mark Wood was obviously injured in the previous match. If you compare that, India wins. In the batting experience, India's got a good amount of batting experience. The top two players, as well as the middle order, has been playing really well and really long for quite some time. Although KL Rahul has come back in the most weirdest of circumstances, right? I mean, you have to have Mayank Agarwal injured at the right time, Shubman Gill injured at the right time, and he's the third option, right? And Prithvi Shaw obviously has not been playing well, so after being dropped, he goes back, plays domestic cricket, and puts himself in good stead to come back. And KL Rahul jumped at his opportunity, especially in the first two tests. Whereas on the other hand, England, their openers have not been playing really well, although Rory Burns might play the Ashes as well, so they're not gonna change him at all. At number three, David Malan comes in, so he doesn't have a lot of experience, although he's been playing a lot of T20 cricket and trying to get as many runs under his belt in the domestic form. Joe Root, obviously the superstar of the series so far, he's been scoring tons for fun, right? That doesn't change. Obviously, Bairstow and Butler, they have been playing really well. They've been getting steady starts, but their experience, especially after winning the ODI World Cup, it allows them to handle pressure situations really well. So England were not going to change that. And then if you try to compare the batting experience, India wins big time. Although Moeen Ali is a good bat, but he's not been flourishing with his bat as of late, especially when you compare his test record with the ODI record. I mean, he is obviously Nathan Lyon's famous bunny, right? So if Ashwin's bowling to him, I'm pretty sure Ashwin would have got the best of him as well, right? So in this case, India wins again. Now, if you look at the swing experience, because remember, you're in England, there's no swing bowlers are going to get the maximum utilization out of the surface compared to seam bowlers, which is completely opposite in Australia. If you look at the swing experience in India, Ishan Sharma is probably the only swing bowler, right? Obviously, people think that Mohammad Shami gets the ball to move around a bit, but he's more of a seam bowler where he gets purchase of the wicket. Whereas the thing that you want to look for during swing bowling is the ball moving in the air, and Ishan Sharma, with his wrist action, gets the ball to move in, especially to the right-handers. Bumrah's developed that, but he's not a traditional swing bowler. On the other hand, All the four bowlers, or the pace bowlers from England squad, are swing bowlers, and England clearly wins in this scenario. Now, when you look at the seam experience, India obviously has got four seam bowlers. Although Siraj has been using his off cutters really well of late, but I still call him a seam bowler. It's going to take him some time to develop his swing expertise, especially trying to move the ball in both ways. But his crossing ball that is delivering at good speeds, just like fast off cutters. I think one of the player that he reminds me of is from the Australian lineup. We had Damien Fleming who could do that, and Michael Kasparowicz. Those were some really good bowlers who could use off cutters at a good pace. Whereas in England squad, all this they don't have much same experience. Although Ollie Robinson can get it to seam a bit, especially with his high arm action, gets it from a good height, gets the ball to seam. In this case, India wins big time. No left-handed batsman. Obviously, more than 90% of the batsmen are right-handed. But having those extra left-handed batsmen gives any opposition good position, especially when they're batting. Because as a bowler, you want to bowl to one batsman for a long time. But what happens during when a left-handed batsman or right-handed batsman partnership is going, especially if they're rotating singles, the bowler constantly needs to change his line and length, and that becomes tricky. And India's only got two of them. Remember, we don't have a single left-hander in the top five batsmen, whereas England has got two of them. Overall, India's only got two left-handers, that is Rishabh Pant and Jadeja, whereas England's got four. Obviously, five with Anderson, but Anderson not a batsman. And clearly, when you try to look at this, England wins big time. And when you look at good fielders, all right, so look at who are the best fielders in the India squad. Obviously, Jadeja ranks the best, not just in India but in the world. And I've got Virat Kohli, who can field really well. I've got KL Rahul, who fields really well. And at the most, you can have Ajinkya Rahane, who's really good in the slips. Rohit Sharma, I mean, obviously with his pouch that he carries, he's not going to be the best fielder, and he stands at second slip. So he's been getting some good catches. So India would want him to continue over there. The four fast bowlers, not not there's not an outstanding fielder amongst them. Obviously, Bumrah and Siraj can field a bit, but you wouldn't call them good fielders. You can get by them, as well as Shami and Ishan. They're obviously not good. I mean, look at Pujara. I mean, he's just a tortoise. He just feels like he bats. It's boring to watch him field. There's nothing exciting that happens. Even if you're starting at forward short leg or forward short cover, he doesn't dive in to get the balls. There's no pressure that he puts on the batsman. On the other hand, if you look at the England lineup, right down from their openers, I wouldn't count Hamid as the best fielder, but at least he's young, so he can get by. He can run around, save some boundaries. But all of them, excluding the keeper, and obviously I wouldn't count Anderson as the best because he's 39 years old, but he still dives around. It's pretty good, pretty fit as well. Ollie Robinson's a tall bloke, so I would give them zero point 0.5 each. And Butler obviously as the keeper, although I don't know why wicketkeeper is not counted as fielders, right? So those are the two points which England loses, but they still have got nine players who can field, and England wins in this clearly. So basically, what's the summary? The overall matchup is a tie. India wins in three categories, England wins in three categories. However, remember you're in English conditions, and especially on day one, the ball's gonna swing, and that's what happened. The swing bowlers took the they were able to extract the most out of the surface, and they were able to get India out under a ton. Right?